The house was quieter than he remembered. Dust hung in the air, drifting through thin beams of afternoon light that slipped between half-drawn curtains. The place smelled faintly of old wood and forgotten summers, boxes stacked where furniture used to be, shelves half cleared, memories packed away in mismatched cardboard. He stood in the middle of the living room, hands on his hips, taking it all in. This was supposed to be simple. A quick clean out. A few hours of sorting, lifting, leaving. That was the plan. Then the front door creaked open behind him. "You're early." Her voice caught him off guard. He turned, a little too fast, and nearly knocked into a leaning broom. She stood just inside the doorway, sunlight at her back, one hand still on the doorknob. Comfortable. Like she belonged here, like she always had. Her sleeves were rolled up, hair pulled back loosely, a smudge of dust already on her cheek. "I thought I'd get a head start," he said. "Didn't think anyone else would be here yet." She smiled. "Not big. Just enough. You underestimate my punctuality." He huffed a quiet laugh and gestured around the room. "As you can see, I've made incredible progress." She stepped farther inside, eyes scanning the mess. "Ah yes. The classic stand and stare phase. Very productive." He opened his mouth to protest, then closed it. "Fair." She grabbed a box from near the wall and nudged it toward him with her foot. "Well, we should probably start before the dust takes us out." He nodded, bending to pick it up. The cardboard groaned under the weight, and he adjusted his grip, pretending it wasn't heavier than expected. She watched him for a moment, lips pressed together like she was holding back a comment. "What?" he asked. "Nothing," she said innocently. "Just observing." He narrowed his eyes. "That look usually means trouble." "Only for you." Despite himself, he smiled. They worked in parallel for a while, sorting, stacking, moving boxes from one corner to another. The quiet between them wasn't empty. It hummed, filled with small sounds, cardboard sliding, footsteps, the occasional thud of something set down too hard. Every now and then, he felt her glance his way. Every time, his focus slipped just a little. He told himself it was nothing. Just a long afternoon. Just a house full of memories. But even then, before the teasing, before the almost moments, something had already shifted, subtle and undeniable, as if the room itself had noticed them together again. By the time the sun dipped lower, the house felt different, less like a storage unit of memories and more like a place waking up again. They had claimed the dining table as the sorting station. Papers were spread out in uneven piles, keep, toss, undecided. He flipped through an old notebook, pausing now and then as if the pages might explain something he'd forgotten. "Wow," she said from across the table. "You really kept everything." "Hey," he replied, defensive but smiling, "some of this is important." She picked up a faded envelope and waved it. "Define important." He squinted. "Okay, maybe not that." She laughed and set it down, then grew quieter as she thumbed through a small stack of photographs. He noticed the change immediately. "What is it?" he asked. She hesitated, then slid one photo across the table toward him. It was old, edges worn soft. The two of them stood side by side in the picture, younger, squinting into the sun, smiles wide and unguarded. He felt a strange pull in his chest, like the past had reached out and tugged on him. "I forgot about that day," he said. "Me too," she replied. "But I remember how hot it was. And how you complained the entire time." "That is a lie." She leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. "You said, and I quote, 'If I melt, I'm haunting this place.'" He laughed despite himself. "Okay, maybe I said that." The moment softened. Comfortable. Familiar in a way that surprised him. They fell into an easy rhythm after that. Every object seemed to spark a story, some funny, some half-remembered, some that trailed off into silence before reaching an ending. He noticed how she listened, really listened, head tilted slightly, eyes focused like nothing else mattered. At one point, she caught him staring. "What?" she asked. "Nothing," he said quickly. "Just weird being back here with you." She nodded, thoughtful. "Yeah, weird, but not bad." That settled something in him. Outside, a breeze rattled the windows. Inside, the room felt warmer, quieter. The piles on the table slowly shrank, but neither of them seemed in a hurry. As she gathered the finished stacks, her hand brushed his, accidental, brief. Still, he felt it linger long after she pulled away. Neither of them mentioned it. They just kept working, side by side, as the afternoon stretched on, both aware, in their own quiet way, that this wasn't just about clearing out a house anymore. Something else was being uncovered piece by piece. They took a break in the kitchen. It wasn't planned, just a natural pause when the stacks were finally cleared and the air felt heavier than before. She leaned against the counter, sipping from a chipped mug she'd unearthed from a box. He stood near the window, watching the dust drift in the late light. Still works, she said, lifting the mug slightly. That's a miracle. He smiled. This house has lower standards than most. She snorted, then glanced around. You know, we never finished the hallway closet. He followed her gaze down the narrow corridor, where the closet door sat half open, its top shelf just out of reach. I'll get it, he said automatically. Of course you will, she replied, already smiling. He grabbed the step stool and dragged it over, the legs scraping softly against the floor. As he climbed up, he felt her eyes on him, not judging, exactly. Just present. What? He asked without turning. Nothing, she said. You just always do that. Do what? Volunteer first. Even when you don't have to. He paused, considering that. Someone has to. Maybe, she said. But you don't always have to be that someone. He glanced down at her, surprised by the gentleness in her voice. Their eyes met, and for a second the hallway felt too small, too quiet. He turned back to the shelf. The box up top was heavier than it looked. He shifted it forward carefully, muscles tensing as he tried to keep his balance. You good? She asked, stepping closer. Yeah, he said. The box slid an inch. She reached out instinctively, hands hovering near the edge. Careful. Their fingers brushed as he steadied it. The contact was brief, barely there, but it sent a ripple through him all the same. He cleared his throat and lowered the box into her hands. Got it, she said. He climbed down, standing a little too close when his feet hit the floor. Neither of them moved right away. Thanks, she said quietly. For what? She shrugged. For showing up. For staying. He didn't have a good answer to that. Instead, he nodded. They carried the box into the living room together, setting it down near the others. The air between them felt charged now, not awkward, not rushed. Just full. He reached for another crate, unaware of the slight smile tugging at her lips. And that's when she said it. Careful, sir, you might break something. If you want, I can. Thread in more inner thoughts. Make the moment sharper or softer. Or revise all 4 scenes so they flow as one continuous chapter. Careful, sir, you might break something, she teased, voice light but perfectly timed. He paused mid-lift, the crate balanced awkwardly against his knee. This, he said. This is nothing. The crate chose that moment to creak in protest. She laughed, pushing off the wall and stepping closer. Famous last words. I've got it, he insisted, adjusting his grip. He really did, at least physically. Emotionally was another story. The closer she got, the more aware he became of everything, the sound of her footsteps, the way the air shifted, the faint crease between her brows when she was amused but trying not to show it. Do you want help? She asked, just a little too casually. He hesitated. Pride nudged him one way. Honesty tugged the other. Maybe, he admitted. Her smile softened. Thought so. She moved to the other side of the crate, their hands landing inches apart. On 3, she said. 1, 2. They lifted together. It was smoother than he expected, like they'd done this 100 times before. The crate rose easily, steady between them. He glanced up without thinking, and caught her watching him. Not the crate. Him. His chest tightened. His heart skipped, sharp and sudden, like it had tripped over itself. She noticed. Of course she did. Her eyebrows lifted slightly. You okay? Yeah, he said too fast. Just, yeah. They carried the crate across the room and set it down gently. The silence afterward stretched thin and electric. Neither of them stepped back right away. Well, she said finally, brushing her hands together, nothing broken. He smirked. Told you. She tilted her head, studying him. I wasn't talking about the crate. That wiped the smirk right off his face. Oh, he said. Brilliant response. She laughed quietly, then looked away, suddenly interested in a stack of boxes nearby. Relax. I'm kidding. Mostly. He exhaled, shoulders loosening. You enjoy messing with me. Someone has to, she replied. You take yourself too seriously. Do not. She shot him a look. You absolutely do. Their eyes met again, and this time neither of them looked away right away. The house felt smaller, warmer, like it was holding its breath. Finally, she cleared her throat. So, next box. He nodded, heart still racing. Yeah, next box. As he bent down, he caught her smiling to herself. And just like that, he knew, whatever they were sorting through now wasn't just old stuff. It was something fragile, and neither of them wanted to be the first to break it.